As we briefly mentioned at the top of the show, though, this does come at a price because the Chicago Street Race won't be returning in 2026. Now, according to an article from WGN9, a local news station in Chicago, the city officials met with NASCAR representatives about a future return to the Chicago Street Course in Grant Park. Now, according to Chicago Alderman Brian Hopkins, he left the meeting convinced that NASCAR is committed to returning to the Windy City in 2027, 2028, and beyond. Now, Hopkins also praised NASCAR for learning from their mistakes that made life more challenging for the locals and their commitment to doing more work within the city of Chicago, despite not racing there in 2026. However, Hopkins also believes that 2026 is a good time to hit the reset button and make sure that Chicago taxpayers get what they deserve for hosting this event. He went on to mention the need to break even for hosting these events and says it's not enough for the city to have a small profit. The link is in the video description below. This is the statement they've put up, though. Thank you for all that you have done to make the NASCAR Chicago Street Race one of the most iconic events in global sports. Following the success of the first 3 years, the Chicago Street Race will hit pause in 2026 to afford us the time necessary to work collaboratively with the city of Chicago to explore a new potential date and develop a plan that further optimizes operational efficiencies with a goal to return to the streets of Chicago in 2027. Together, we have built and grown an expanded community of fans that consists of long-time NASCAR enthusiasts and first-time racegoers from around the globe. And for that, we are immensely grateful. Thank you for your continued support, and we look forward to seeing you at the races. Well, Matt, it's down with you again. Are you disappointed in the Chicago Street Race falling off the schedule for next year? And are you actually confident that it will return in the future? Because as we've said before on the show, can two street circuits coexist on the NASCAR Cup Series schedule?
Well, yeah, as I said before, yes, as a SVG fan, very disappointed because he's won pretty much everything that has ever happened to that place. I mean, they've had their troubles, haven't they, with the weather, of course, in the first year was not ideal at all by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think the late start time particularly helped them. Like this year, I mean, it was a decent weekend. The fans, it just, I'll use a quote that Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi said on the teardown post that weekend was, it looked like we were suddenly getting a bit more momentum. The fans and the locals had suddenly got it. Right, this is here, it's this weekend, and they were coming out to show their support for the race. But perhaps trying to fit it into a different date on the calendar for next year is probably one of the main reasons why it has cost them being on the calendar for next year. But it does look promising that they can, as you said, Josh, have a little bit of a reset. They'll go away, think about what they can do differently, think about what's worked, what hasn't worked, etc., etc. They've got a bit more time to do that now, as opposed to being back on the schedule next year, where they would have to try and force things to fit. Perhaps they've got a few more months or whatever, if they're guaranteed a slot on the 27 schedule, to be there, which hopefully they will be. Well, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, about perhaps having two street races on the calendar before we perhaps knew that this San Diego race was going to be kind of do you know what I mean? It's not in the city as such. So that's a point of difference. We can have an in-town track and an out-of-town sort of street road course with San Diego, if that's going to continue for more than 1 year, which you would imagine it probably would do. To have a West Coast road course and an East Coast, Chicago's not east, but you know what I mean, it's on the east side of the country. An East side road course would be good, but then of course we'd have all the discussion that we had around the Chicago weekend of people that don't like road courses saying there's too many road courses. So as we're going to get to later when we get back to NASCAR, you can't please everybody all of the time. But I'm disappointed that Chicago's gone, but this already looks like it's going to be massive, and I can't wait for it, as you said before.
I'm starting to kind of struggle to see what this statement is like, because we see Thermal doing the same thing as we see Denver Thurston in chat asking if I could see the series permanently make 7 road courses. What are we at now, gents? 6 for this season, 6 or 7?
Yes.
If I do, I think street circuits are just so hard of a sell to this series right now. It's hard for me to imagine a world where NASCAR and San Diego can coexist. I think San Diego and Chicago can coexist. I think the big issue with Chicago is having it at the park. It was that kind of logistical problem that I think we would have seen if NASCAR tried to make it work downtown San Diego, because it's just in the middle of everything. So much traffic has to dilute. And that's a solution that NASCAR is able to, NASCAR and the city are kind of able to overturn by moving that over to North Island and kind of, keep a lot of things being standard when it comes to downtown. But I think it's going to stay around probably 6, I would say, with probably 5 natty road courses and then 1 street circuit. Look, San Diego seemed like it was all too good to be true for me. And I felt like it was going to be Chicago having to fall for that to happen. And once I saw the leaks for Chicagoland getting their revamps, I was like, maybe, I'm not sure, but it makes too much sense right now for that Chicago spot to be filled by Chicagoland. If not next year, then maybe 27 or 28. But you ask yourself where other road courses and where other big kind of long shot events fit into this. You got to ask yourself how long Mexico City is going to last, if that's logistically and financially feasible for the series. I would love to see Chicago return as an IMSA event, have some of the, ladder series get a chance. We never got to see the truck series run. I think seeing Pilot Challenge in the WeatherTech series give that course a run would be incredible. But again, they said they need to make a really big profit here in the returning year. And I don't know if that's going to have that same Cup Series level draw for that to really, be worth it. Matt Owens behind the mic making a really good point here. The 4th of July weekend was also a big crutch for Chicago. Absolutely. And what's supposed to be a very patriotic weekend for NASCAR, a league that embraces it so hard. I would not be surprised to see Iowa. Absolutely. Classic Midwest America. I think that makes the most sense for that to fill in. This is a very long answer to say I would love to see Chicago come back in some capacity. I think it's going to be really dependent on what the reception is for San Diego. And Matt, Josh, I think we could get to the point where Chicago's only real, remembrance is going to be that place where that Kiwi came and it rained really hard and he won out of nowhere.
That was actually the sort of the highlight, wasn't it? If Chicago Street Race comes back, make it a night race.
There we go.
Night. Yes, I'd like that.
I've been saying you got to put floodlights at Circuit of the Americas and have IndyCar go there as a night race. Have a Bahrain, Qatar style night race. We didn't even talk about this. Yeah, great grab for Prime to grab San Diego with that Father's Day time slot. And TNT going to lose that Chicago street race as a result. So that's going to be a big gain for Prime. I'm going to be really interested to see kind of how the pre and post race do. They did such a phenomenal job with production this year. And I know you guys are going to have your discussion. You guys have already been talking about how you think TNT has done on their production side of things. But some really, really cool opportunities media-wise here with the city as well.
I'm glad that Prime have got it, to be fair. I was just thinking which one it would be, but I'm glad Prime have locked that one in as well mid-season. Race 3 of their countdown, would it be? Yeah.
The rest of the calendar is expected via Ben Kennedy, and he said today in the next couple of weeks. So we should have the absolute calendar for next year very soon.
Don't be surprised if we see Chicagoland.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
if they can get the money and they can get it done quick and get it sorted and squared away, then there's no reason why we can't be there next year.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? You don't want to lose the city completely, and Chicagoland's actually quite good. I would enjoy a race there. We've seen it before. Jackson, going to let you go now as well. Thanks for coming back onto the show tonight as well. You looking forward to this weekend of action? Oh yeah, always. You can be trackside. That's gonna be we're gonna see what I can do for you guys. Gonna be a good time. But phenomenal for me to come on and talk about this with you guys. And as always, thanks so much for having me. Nice to have you as well. We'll see you soon. Enjoy and wear some sunscreen. It's gonna be hot. Will do. Cheers, boys.